All right, guys, trying to get this thing set up here. Okay. Wow, what a week. Where were we a week ago? So that's Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were right there in the midst of a very, very low volume day. And we did get going the next day. It must be right here. Yeah. A very low volume day. We got going the next day. Immediately has gotten volatile. Um, should have just traded the volume aggregation tool. Forget the chart. The V8 tool has been the way to go. Straight up, right up to our resistance, pulled back, right? Came back, pulled back deeper, kind of a cup and handle here. Then an actual uptrend with some big distribution in the middle of it and into, what happened on Thursday is a pretty good looking market. Volume is above average for 2 days, arguably three at average for the first one. And then yesterday, across the market, now it wasn't exactly an outside day in BTC because we opened here, so we didn't eclipse the prior day's high, but definitely an outside close to the downside on that one. Still within trend line, and then today we're playing with trend line. So, uh, yeah, this market's interesting. With add all of that in the mix is zero distribution days since our follow through day back here on April 22nd, which is interesting given the volatility that we've had to have zero distribution days. So there doesn't appear to be a lot of distribution, but there's definitely choppiness. Choppiness doesn't equal distribution, but distribution obviously can and sometimes will lead to choppiness. It's been an interesting week. Volume got heavier. VA tool still looks good. One pocket pivot to the upside, one to the downside, which was on Monday. So prognosis is we're still in the uptrend. We're going to end up chopping this trend line unless we get a move up fast today or maybe even tomorrow. Maybe it's got 2 days. So there's tomorrow, there's Monday, there's Tuesday. So could triangle backfill for a few days before trying to move higher. But if anything, which is very scary to do, all these dips should be bought in this environment. It is really what it looks like. The one gimme to that, not really gimme, but the one caveat to that is VA tool does show a little bit higher selling pressure than we have had. So that's a little bit caveat to buying these dips. Um, not a big dip buyer advocate personally, unless it's like down right to support. Maybe one of these, if you caught this in like this hammer candle, could have been bought stop at the low. That would have been probably your best trade, but that would have been a very difficult one to actually do properly. It did undercut and rally these lows. I think we may have talked about that. I don't know. It seemed to be a couple of undercut. We know we talked about this one, but here's the problem: is it got undercut. So this one didn't get undercut at a low. This one with an undercut and rally. Actually, this isn't really undercut and rally. This is just a hammer candle. Hey, what's up, Aram? Pretty garbage ass week, huh? Jeez. Not very clear situationally at all. But we undercut our hammer candle right there. Now we did come back. I wouldn't consider that an undercut and rally. And then now we're chopping in this little range here. So very unique situation. Um, yeah, very unique situation. All the alts, I don't, not all of them, but a vast majority posted outside days yesterday. Although not a distribution day, which I think is interesting. How many? What was the percentage yesterday? Yeah, well over 3%. So that could have been a distribution day, but our big volume the prior day actually saved us from that. Whether that's a good or a bad thing is yet to be seen, but it's it is what it is, right? It is what it is. What else? What else? I don't know. That's about it. I mean, that's kind of this. That's what we just went through. Moving averages are still at good levels. We're in this uptrend that's just a little bit choppy. And it feels a little more than a little bit choppy with a 4% day down in BTC, or was it 3.85 or something? It depends where I hit it from. You kept your capital? Yeah, it's over 4% down. Yeah, see, that's good. It's fine to wait for better pastures, man. It really is. Omar, Yeah, it has been a while, man. Got your bull icon there. How are you doing? That's good to hear, Aram. That's really good to hear. Yeah, Reddit turned into a dumpster fire fast for some freaking reason. I don't even know, but it went from that from that good day, just immediately rolled over and just never stopped. That was crazy. Yeah, yeah, yours may be right. I'm trying to remember you, which explains why I'm like Omar, Omar, Omar. I'm like Omar, Omar, Omar. Nope, don't remember. A couple of years would explain it. That's funny. How have you been doing? How have you been doing? Have you been trading? Have you been um yeah, what have you been up to? Oh, we may be public. We are public. Ah, that was on accident. That was on accident. Yeah. I did not mean that, but we were public last week, I think, and I didn't take it off. So that's good. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, sorry about that, Aram. Wasn't supposed to be public, but little things. Trading again in a few weeks. Yeah, it's a weird trading environment right now, Omar. It's not an easy one. Not an easy one. Yeah, weird, right, Aram? Sorry. I'll have to fix that after the show. Take it off. Yeah, trading's been difficult. You know, if you have a good feel for lows, this feels like that kind of environment. But in highs, like we're at right now, things are pretty difficult to really get a good read on. We do have a few things moving up in stocks. See, we're still on crypto, so let's go back to crypto. But we'll talk about stocks later. A few things up in stocks. Um, some not really breaking out huge, but maybe we'll be on the cusp of actually doing that. All right, circling back to BTC, yeah, very interesting week, and but we're in an uptrend. We're above the 10-day moving average, above the 20-day. Actually, 50 just crossed the 200. Okay, so Golden Cross, watch for those videos coming out in the next couple of days from a bunch of people probably. And this trend so far has been pretty solid. I mean, even with the volatility, even with it's been a volatile uptrend, especially intraday, just shaking out of in anything that like a normal technical trader, unless you're taking broader signals. You know, if you're entering looking for a tight stop loss, this market's shaking you out. It's doing a good job of that. If your stop losses are a bit wider, if you take under the low of consolidations, you know, like say you bought here, put your stop here, you were fine. You know what I mean? But if you put your stop here and if you bought here and you put your stop under the low, you were taken out. So even this low looks like it was taken out. That was your undercut and rally on that candle. So maybe something similar here. Maybe this is just, you know, a small move down, you know, middle late yesterday into what's going to be an uptrend this next week, maybe even supporting the trend line. Yeah. With the moving averages in good spots, it's hard to, you know, second guess what's been happening. If you bring up Bollinger Bands, which I don't do often, yeah, right on the 20-day, sitting right on the top of this Bollinger Band. You get up there, it seems to stall out a little bit until we consolidate and then move over, and then up we go. So that's a pretty strong little trend there. Yeah, looks pretty good. So buying dips has really been I think, you know, one of the best ways to do this, and that's about it. All right. Do you expect us to reach parabolic state for altcoins in the next 6 months? I think it depends how the next 2 or 3 weeks go, to be quite honest with you. Um, hold on a second, guys. All right. Yeah, let's look at alts for a second. That's a pretty interesting question. 6 months? Well, that actually would be the end of the year, wouldn't it? Jeez, this year's flying by. Um, let's answer that question. Let's do it like. What's a good proxy? Should we use Ethereum, SUI, a random altcoin? Well, we can take a look at Ethereum for the moment. I mean, in terms of alts, Ethereum kind of used to set the tone a little bit, not as much lately, but in the past it really has. Ethereum's in a good spot. There's a lot of alts in good spots. So with that pullback yesterday, the main thing is going sideways from here. You know what I mean? I think that's the main thing is if we can maintain sideways with the outside day yesterday, then, everything will be fine. BTC, look at BTC dominance. That's a I don't know. Dominance is hard for alts because alts have been getting their butt handed to them given the dominance of Bitcoin, which makes sense. And I've explained this um, recently. I don't know if it was a public video or what it was, but when you look at Bitcoin dominance, I think just the constant uptrend in the dominance is simply can be attributed to the fact that institutions are involved in Bitcoin is by far the highest quality cryptocurrency. I mean, Solana's had its problems. Ethereum is stagnant and really not doing anything. Sui just had a breach. I mean, you name the thing that's tried to come up and try to out tech Bitcoin, and they've all failed. They've all failed. The only one that really hasn't failed is Ethereum, but its market share has dropped because it has competition. Bitcoin is competition less. I mean, yeah, there's competition out there, but what is what's actually competing? You know what I mean? Nothing. And there's a lot of good competitors. I mean, all the forks, all the OG forks. You got Monero, you got Litecoin, um, even Doge for crying out loud, and none of them, none of them are even close to Bitcoin in terms of what the market views as a gold standard. You know what I mean? And not even hyperbole. I mean that they could consider BTC to be the digital gold in a digital world. Um, where actual gold is just gold, and this is digital gold. So, I mean, it makes sense to me that this dominance chart is just going up. If you want to try to time an altcoin, you'd be looking maybe for something like this for a rally, is what I would be thinking. Is you're looking for some type of topping action, which you don't really have here. You do have a sell off, but getting back to the breakdown point still has a little room to go. And I'm not sure where the volume comes in on this, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what comprises this volume. Is it Bitcoin minus everything else, or I really have no idea. Uh, Ken type total 3, is that a symbol? Oh, I have this in stocks. Total 3. Oh, there you go, Ken. That's pretty cool. Total crypto market cap excluding BTC and ETH. Actually, was unaware of this symbol. I'm going to keep this. Okay. Yeah, that's a cool one. I didn't know about that. I knew about total. I know they had it. Oh, I have a total 2. Oh, look at me. Stuff I don't even know. So that's excluding Bitcoin, and that's excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay. Yeah, total 3. So you know what this looks like? You know exactly what that looks like? And they both probably look darn near identical. Oh, wow. Total 2 and total 3. Interesting. Yeah, because that excludes Ethereum. Ethereum's had a really good run. Uh, Pretty much all alts look like one of these charts for the most part. It's crazy. So we've come down off the lows. We've had a couple consolidations, and we just failed yesterday, right? So in terms of alts going parabolic, I mean, I think the uptrend that we're in seems strong. We don't have any distribution days, and in alts, as long as we overtake the next high, we're good. Oh, include stablecoins as their total 3 minus S. That's funny. So, so our last move we had was here. Now, pretty much all alt runs, you know, end up in some type of a parabola. Only a few really have not. So here's a straight up parabola the whole time. You don't even really get a cup and handle looking thing here. But what up? What's up, Midwest? Um, yeah. So here coming out of a consolidation. Here coming out of a consolidation. This one's a little bit different because, this one really took its sweet time. This one took its sweet time. This one going up pretty quick, almost out of a V bottom, like an inverted head and shoulders type of a thing. So will we get up? I don't know. Total. I'm gonna see where. I don't really look at the total charts too often, guys. So let me do something real quick. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Where'd that button go? I guess I'll just do that. That's the one I wanted. Okay. I want to get a bigger picture view here. All right, so total market cap has eclipsed November 21 there. Total 2 has not. And total 3 has not also. This kind of reminds me a little bit of gold's big cup and handle. Who's talking about a mega short squeeze? I'm not familiar with that. Is there a lot of shorts on right now? I mean, could be a thing. If there's a high short ratio, give me some info on that. I don't know who that is. I don't even care. Do they are you talking about crypto? Are you talking about stocks? Is there something we can look at on a chart? Let me get back to my totals. So, alt rally next six. I think a rally. We already started the rally. Um, Specifically Bitcoin shorts. Cryptocurrency longs versus shorts. Actually, not very familiar with this. Long versus short accounts. Yeah, I'm not sure what's a good tool to actually look at that. I mean, obviously, if the market's over shorted, yes, you could come into a short squeeze scenario, which obviously would be great. This isn't helping. Trading delta long short ratio from Binance. Is that just text? No, looks like it's a chart. Open interest. Okay. Well, this could give you some information if we get some information. There we go. Yeah, if you've got, that's definitely something. I mean, if shorts are in the market and the thing's not dropping, yeah, you could be in for a short squeeze, and sometimes those can spark big rallies. I don't have an example off the top of my head, but I mean, that's a thing, right? Come on. Just waiting here. Do we get data or not? I don't know. Well, I mean, just looking at the technicals, I mean, we're in a good spot, Our moving averages are turning up. Um, even on all these charts, really. And the alts themselves look fine. The alts, there's nothing wrong with them. Um, Bitcoin, again, zero distribution days. I'm a big thing on those distribution days. I think it's big. Solana's in a good spot. It broke out down here at the 135 with the flag out of the trend line, and now we're up at the 200. And it makes logical sense to me that you're going to have some stalling points. This isn't a traditional market environment. Trump jumping in, affecting markets more than anybody that I can remember. Who was the last president that said words and freaking, dropped the markets however many thousands of points or whatever metric you want to use? Uh, It's it's just a unique scenario. And even through all that, crypto has actually been pretty stable, which which I think is unique. Um, so anyway, let's look at some of these top alts. We'll go down the top 20, and by the end of it, what you're going to see is outside days yesterday, really across the board. We talked about undercut and rallies on my show yesterday. Let's put these charts back to normal here for a second. So yeah, one thing we had yesterday, which was interesting, and these are The failure rate of these have to be higher. I actually don't have any data on this. Maybe I will one day. But so if you end up in a high and then you have a big drop and then you have a hammer candle pretty close to immediately after that. This one's immediately after that, but let's say this was a hammer candle. I would argue something like this, while it looks good, and that is a good looking hammer candle, you got to admit, it's almost double the volume of that prior red candle, lots of support, but just doesn't go anywhere. And now we're living in the lower echelon of this range right there. So that to me just shows that, whoever bought that um, hasn't really been following up. And see, that's the thing when you talk about price action. It's called price action. There has to be action around the price. And if you're getting support at a price without follow through of that support, you're left with this. And that's what this is. That support at that price for whatever reason, and this support waning away. Maybe the guy's been home for the day. I got no idea, but that's kind of what it is. And we're left with a reversal candle on daily high volume where the intraday doesn't even look that bad. So it's tricky. It's not normal. But at the end of the day, you take the zoomed out picture, you look at where it's been, in the past 6 months and where it's been in the past 2 or 3 months. We're in a pretty good spot. Small breakdown point here we're fighting with, 200 period moving average we're fighting with, and it makes sense to fight with those levels. So we can easily come back and out of this. And as weird as this has been, it looks fairly normal on the daily. I mean, Solana hasn't been super actionable, but if you had your balls screwed on tight like I didn't, and you bought this little thing right there at the trend line break, you were rewarded. If you still got it, you're still good. So I don't think you read too much into it, but looking to take positions right now is tricky. So, but I think we get past it and we go up. BTC is just looking pretty solid. If those buyers come back, then I think we'll be okay. But that's always the thing. And what you have to remember is think of like the bigger picture. Whenever you get fuddled by the small, which happens to me all the time, when I get too in depth in like the 1 and 5 minute charts, trying to time entries and watch my positions, man, my brain gets jumbled quick. You have to just go out to the bigger time frame and kind of, settle down, get out of the minutia. That's why this is a 2 hour chart, not a 5 minute chart. Um, it's so we can get some context, you know, because with daily is good, but you don't get that intraday context. I think the 2 hour gives you some good context. Yeah, you sold it. That's okay. Are we on Solana? Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, is you know how it goes around. So capturing profits is fine. And so there's another thing. The market is so ripe with opportunity too that we don't have to participate in every rally. We don't have to participate in every leg of the uptrend. You know, if your account goes from 1,000 to 1,500 and you did something and it would have been 2,000, did you fail? This is one of those psychological parts to trading that is really the hardest part. Is that not considering yourself a failure and just being able to make the next step, even if you just made a misstep. You got to take the next one. If you missed an entry, is there another way in? And if something funny that happens with me is with a lot of my typical setups that I really love to trade. If I miss an entry, it's fine. I'll get in late. At least for me, if I see all my signals in a row, if there's just like uber strength and everything's rock solid, I'll jump in late. I really don't care. So it, in reality, for me, I do a lot of options trading. It just depends on the whether the option looks good or not. It doesn't really matter about the chart. Bitcoin is weird, momentum driven. They can make you depressed and make charts look bad, then pump it and catch people off guard. Never know. Yeah, and that's why you got to back out to this bigger time frame. It's been stable, zero distribution days. I mean, I can't say that enough. You got to have a few tools in your tool bag to kind of keep you grounded. Otherwise, you'll end up in random noise. And I mean, look at this. You got two accumulation days since we broke out of this 86,000 level, and no distribution days. So there's really nothing bad about this setup in the bigger picture. But so the tools I use, I do use the distribution days to kind of gauge distribution. Um, I also use a tremendous amount of trend lines, as you guys see, to kind of gauge a trend. I use moving averages because they're really good goalposts that move with the chart, where a trend line does not. So it's good to have a little bit of context. But until well, here before we broke out there, we were fighting the trend line, and then boom, it just popped, and then did it again over here, and now here we are again at the trend line. So eventually, this trend line will fail. All trend lines do fail, in every direction. There's like only one or two or three that don't, and they're decades-long trend lines that indexes have formed, and even some BTC ones. But yeah, eventually this will fail, and it'll give you an alternative entry point. And the way to view this, the way that I like to try to view this, is that each trend line gives you the trend, and then once it's broken, the trend is broken, but it doesn't mean the chart's broken. It means the trend is broken. So this is a good example. Trend is broken, and then you're chopping through, right? Which is, we're kind of going through that right now. Um, you go up, we're well above the trend line. You're chopping above the trend line, no higher highs. You have a failure here on lower volume, so you're not going to go past it. Takes out the trend line. Well, what's happening now? Are you going to die into a bear market and lose all your life savings, or are we going to consolidate? Well, for the most part, we consolidate. You break a trend line, you consolidate. That's the general rule. And that's what happened here, and then this trend line goes and this trend line breaks. You know what I mean? So I do like to use trend lines with moving averages because I feel that you get the trend and potential support. So that's the thing. The trend lines give you the trend. That's all they give you. But moving averages can actually give you some potential support. Obviously, I say potential because they're still there in this choppy range. They don't always give you support. But when you get in the uptrend, you can use the moving averages to really gauge the momentum, the amount of momentum that you have. And so, here it respects the 10-day in the vertical section, which completely makes sense. So then you violate the 10-day and your angle of attack changes. I know some of us turned it into like how to use trend lines and moving averages. I don't know, but it's interesting. So we'll stick with it. So your angle of attack changes, right when you break that 10-day. Boom, angle of attack. Then you respect the 20-day, kill the 20-day, but you close it, and until it breaks the 20-day, now see the trend changes again. So it's this constant rotation. So once the 20-day gets broken, then you're looking at the 50-day, and you're like, okay, well, if we're playing with the 50-day, it's obviously going to be a bit of a longer deal. And then this one ended up double topping, and then rolling over, breaking this trend line. So, rinse and repeat. Um, Rinse and repeat. But when trying to gauge momentum, and that's what we're doing here. Right now we're starting to break the trend line. We haven't fully broken the 10-day. You can argue it was broken here, but such minor action, low volume. Give it a little bit of a break. Maybe you call it the 20-day, which we're still above. So this thing could still, chop around a bit. If it gets supported by the 20-day, here's a cool rule. Um, that I don't even think I do consciously. I think I do it subconsciously. And we do it with the pi method often, is that if it comes down and gets supported, it doesn't have to be a moving average. It could dip all the way down to here as long as it doesn't break this overall trend. Even if it comes all the way down to here, what you do is you move this trend line, right? So your trends can change. Your trends can change in amplitude, right? So, or yeah, amplitude. This is a very high amplitude move, right? But then let's find an example of that settles down a little bit. So here's one. So here's a very high amplitude move, you know, just taking an example I'm picking here. Here's a very high amplitude move, boom, that um, breaks, and then you do get supported by a couple moving averages. So then you move the trend line and your amplitude changes of the trend. It doesn't, not that the trend is dead, but the amplitude of the trend changes. And there's where a little bit of art versus science comes into play. Is the trend line breaking bad in a way that's just dead, or is it going to be adjusted? And, when you're up so vertically from another trend line, like one of these, obviously it's probably just going to get moved. So, you know, where are we at with this? Well, we're breaking one of these smaller, high amplitude trend lines. I think that's a good way to look at it. And so you're probably gonna be led into one of these choppy scenarios where maybe you can buy dips. Maybe a good dip buy. You may want to wait a little bit to see if the trend's going to be sideways or going to be down. Because here's a sideways trend that, maybe you could have had some, even if it was short-term gains. Like say, breaks the trend line, say it comes down here, say you like this off the 20-day, volume's in line, it's not crazy volume. Say you buy that off the 20-day, whatever. And it pops up here and it goes all the way up here. You've got a nice little gain. I mean, maybe that's a trade for you. Maybe you want to give it more space and it goes higher. And then you see it starts going sideways. And if you're a good dip buyer, um, which I'd love to be a good dip buyer. If you're a good dip buyer, then then yeah, you got some opportunities in these choppy ranges, right? You got some opportunities. The breakout buyers buying here. If you notice this thing sells, you know, you sell it, and then if you're good at dip buying, you buy dips. Otherwise, you buy ranges. Blah 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 blah. Right? Just rinse and repeat all those same factors until you're left with, Wyckoff top breaking a range into a Wyckoff bottom that reverses. Pick your poison. It's funny how fast people get bored with Bitcoin price level. We're at the January all-time high. Enter Q. Are you not entertained me? Are you not entertained? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Levels are well. It's humanity, right? And that's the thing. We're also people. How fast people get bored. Yeah, it's just we're all people. We just deal with yeah. It's because now this is in the past. It's a reference point. It's not new. It's a reference point at this stage, which is fine. So, yeah, it does change, and the context changes. And we did hit a new high, but we didn't really sell off. We didn't really break out. So, I mean, but I'm thinking our trend continues, even if the trend line breaks, even if, we run into one of these scenarios. You form a nice base. See, here's the thing about these, which should excite you if you're a pattern trader. You go up, you hit an inflection point for whatever reason, and then you base. Those basing times, if the base looks good, and this one has a capability of looking good. Look at the VA tool. There's tons of buying up here. You could end up with a really, really nice pattern. And as weird as it feels now, however you're feeling it, all things feel better with a great pattern on the chart. And so we could get into that scenario. So, and keep in mind too, Bitcoin's leading this market. So if Bitcoin looks good, these alts are gonna do good stuff too. All right, let's roll back down through these top 20. We talked a little bit about Ethereum, ETH, not in a bad place, actually in a little bit of a bull flag position, and I kind of like it overall. Volume aggregation tool looks good. RSI's pulled in a little bit, so it's got some room to run there. Testing the 200 period moving average, testing a breakdown point. You got another breakdown point here at the 3240, whatever. That little spot right there, little inverted cup and handle. Um, Breaking past that, you're back at highs at 4,000. So, I mean, ETH's in a pretty decent spot. Is it going to chop? Probably. Are we going to go back and test these lows? I mean, it's on the table. I don't know if it's possible, but it's on the table. We got a bear flag right now. You get a rejection of the lows. That could be one of those good dip buys, you know? Solana rejection, flat 200. It's like one of the flattest 200-day moving averages ever. It's pretty cool, actually. That goes flat all the way to April. It's like a month and a half ago. That's funny. That's just funny. So Solana a market leader, but not really doing too much. Bitcoin's really taking it back. BNB choppy. BNB choppy. Cup and handle look, which is good. There's really nothing wrong with that. Hammer candle yesterday. We did hold, even though we did go all the way back there and test it. So some held, but not. I don't know about a ratio. Really wasn't looking at that. I was looking at the outside day on the daily. And here's another outside day. You know what I mean? So there's an outside day yesterday. Yeah, above the 200 on BNB. Yeah, I don't think Ethereum is. Yeah, it's BNB. Solana below it. Yeah, BNB above it. When BNB moved up here, I did take a special note of it because this is an exchange token. I mean, why would exchange tokens do good if the market's going to do garbage? That just doesn't compute to me. So I thought that was a nice vote of confidence in the markets with BNB and getting right past that trend line too. Look at that, just blew right through it. And yeah, Aram's right, above the 200 period moving average. So, that's in a good spot. BNB doing some good stuff there. XRP, bunch of random crap. Dogecoin, not looking bad. Big outside day yesterday. Those always suck, but cup and handle. and it could come back. I don't want to discount it too much. Doge can do its thing. So not in a bad spot. If you want to buy dips, then you're looking to buy probably the next day or two. You know, you're looking for that. Um, you get a low volume move down here with a hammer candle or reversal candle. You could look at that. Cardano H pattern here, not as pretty as some of the other ones we've seen, and the patterns get worse as you go down in market cap. I do believe the institutions are buying what they want to, and that's usually larger market cap things. Tron choppy but not bad. Shiba choppy but not good. Ton choppy but garbage. AVAX choppy but not great. you know, outside day. Lots of outside days yesterday, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, but hopefully it's not doesn't get too nerve-wracking. Sui with the data breach, I think 200 million lost or something like that. Um, did not take it well, still not taking it well. I I just Googled one article about it yesterday. Not like I'm the predominant expert in what happened with Sui, but if you keep up with it, it could be a buying opportunity if they address it properly and fix it. Sui could come back, and it was behaving really well, also above the 200. So we'll see, but right now it's pretty much in a void until it can shake itself out and they can fix whatever they screwed up. Bitcoin Cash not an outside day, interestingly enough, and holding higher than most. And Bitcoin Cash was starting to look okay, some nice tight action, and I think that's why it handled this better, as the sellers seem to have stepped away for whatever reason. Maybe they're thinking Bitcoin Cash is the second coming of Bitcoin. We talked about Bitcoin and its copycats earlier. Hello, Bitcoin Cash. Chainlink, choppy. Pepe, choppy, but not. I don't know. Pepe was looking better, was holding up really well. Nice horizontal. Really wasn't able to go, but a lot of things weren't able to go. So give it a little bit of grace here. I like the way the volume signatures are looking. It's selling a little bit too much on the daily, and it looks like a bear flag on the intraday. So maybe keep a lookout for undercuts and rallies and support on Pepe. DOT outside day yesterday. DOT sucks anyways. Near protocol. Outside day yesterday. High volume, pretty much like the rest of the market. If this takes us out, it'd be a shame, but it's possible. Across the market, not even just in near everything. This whole market's working the same across pretty much every asset. Leo choppy garbage. Litecoin controlled choppy garbage, still in the channel. Doesn't look great. Doesn't really look amazing. Um, just is what it is, I guess. Yeah, it's just back in the thing. Litecoin's been a tricky one. I mean, there's a very small cup here if you wanted to buy that, and holding on for dear life for those couple weeks there before you get extended is tough. I don't know who's trading Litecoin too much. How do I see XRP? I don't like XRP generally. It moves on news about XRP. Other than that, it doesn't do anything. I mean, I'll circle back in a second. I'm almost done through the top 20, but it just doesn't do anything. It's so why even mess with it? I mean, yeah, every dog has its day, but it doesn't really run with anything. APT, choppy, not looking great there. Uniswap still fighting the good fight from this inverted head and shoulders, although technically, according to me, it kind of hit a 75% of a head and shoulders pattern, which is a hit for me. And so now it's just doing whatever it's doing, but not very good. And then OM can't get off the floor. If this gives way, it'll be crazy. It'll probably be just another very large downside move. Won't be as abrupt as this one, obviously, but it'll be a big move down. Yeah, the problem with XRP, uh, and I think this is best shown on a weekly chart for XRP. It's only had like 4 or 5 really rallies you can wrap your head around. One or two of them aren't on here, but actually I think they're on this one. Yeah, there you go. So they've really only had a couple of good rallies. One, two, maybe three if you catch this one. Uh, I think I caught that one. No, I caught one of these. I think I caught that one. I don't know. Is this one? I don't remember. And then this one. But other than that, you're waiting just for it doesn't do anything. It just doesn't do anything. And I mean, if you're willing to hold something for that long, I guess that's fine. I mean, no one thought it'd get back to 2.5 when it was sitting down here at 25.50 cents. So, you know, not everyone's right about everything. And that was a good return if you're willing to hold for 3 years. And maybe you are, and that's fine if you are. No issues with that. Um, I mean, technically, you could, almost call this a bull flag if you know, if you want, you know. So we'll see about that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if it extends up, but you look at the daily on it, and you get different signals, you know. So I think if you want to play an XRP, you have to get lucky. I mean, it's hard to time this. You really just have to get lucky. Okay, per usual, guys that, watch the show every day, I didn't really write down my alts. I was proud of myself yesterday, but not today. I think it was just Aave. Um, I'm gonna check on my phone real quick because I'm public. I don't want to pull up emails and such. Let me check. Oh, gotta update my emails on my phone. There I go. Look at my beautiful newsletter. Yeah, just Aave. Now, I did look at Aave yesterday in the Power Hour, and what we noticed was that Aave, the price action in Aave is really good. Price action in Aave, lots of support. I think institutions are buying this because it is by far the largest DeFi market, at least in the Ethereum space. 22 billion we found out yesterday, and then Uniswap's like 3 billion. So I think I think they're just trying to buy quality. They're just eating it up little by little, which is why we're not getting any major patterns. It's just more of a melt up than it is anything. Um, but it's just doing its own thing. I mean, it's 5% today, not too much is up 5% today. I don't even know what. Injective 4.8, OM 5 because it's just dead, and then 7 for WLD. That's not too bad. But I mean, just a very boring asset that is doing a lot better than it's done in the past. That's 90% return from when it, kind of broke this trend line. You know, you get tight under the trend line, you break it, and it's doing well above the 200 period moving average. I mean, so I think Ave is going to surprise a lot of people because its recent strength has been strong. It really has been. Because I go through these charts every day, and it's the first one I see, and I'm usually pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, maybe the market will be good today, and the rest of the charts look like crap. And I'm like, oh, it's just Abe. So it's kind of, you know, hitting me in the hitting me in the face here. So yeah, that's that. Pretty much no alts or I don't think really that great. WLD still looks pretty good. What's the other one we were looking at? We were looking at Ronin for a minute. That pulled in quite a bit. QNT Quantum still looking decent. Choppy, not pulling in too far. Some of the ones we were looking at this last week. What else? We look Kava. We had Kava. I think for a minute. I don't know. It doesn't look impressive. Maybe it wasn't Kava. Talked about ING one time last week, I think. So yeah, I mean the alts are slowly melting up. It's just one of those situations that it's hard to get excited about, you know. But that's the thing. It's hard to get excited about, and that's the thing with trading is a lot of us aren't necessarily adrenaline junkies, but we're chart junkies, and we got to see good charts, and we don't have a lot of those at the moment. Let's go through stocks. You guys got any questions? Post them up there. We'll circle back. Stock markets did start to roll over. Talk about immediate trend lines and moving average support, right? Look at that trend line. Very abrupt trend line. Um, NASDAQ, that's the futures market. There's the S&P. What the transports do? I only look at transports during the show. So pulled in, filled the gap, closed up here. That's not too bad. You sold Soxel? Good. Yeah, I got out of Soxel, yes, 2 days ago, Thursday, in some of my stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't get out of it in my big account. It took a bigger hit than I wanted. 18? Oh, good job. Yeah, I mean, aggressive selling is good. I failed at it this time around. Took a little bit of a hit, which I'm not happy with, but It's what happened. Um, yeah, I mean, we talked about the market topping and staying tight and good, then it started rolling over. So that's a good seller, Rom. Good job. Yeah, just gotta find a way to get back in at a good clip, right? That's all. The only thing. Apple, what do we got here? This one's Soxel. Nvidia started rolling over, had an outside day with a reversal here on Wednesday. Big volume. That was an exit signal right there. I probably should have exited everything on that one. Palantir, not doing bad, still respecting the trend, not breaking out though. Had an opportunity to break out here, and just couldn't really put it together. Although if the market stays healthy, this will just pop up one day. AMD, okay, not bad, not great. Okay, it's bad. ARM, not very good. ASML, trying to fill the gap. SMCI, filled the gap. Reddit, got his head bashed in with a baseball bat. And then what else? ExxonMobil, gold. You know, I think gold is. Wow, what show? I was watching some stupid YouTube video caught my eye yesterday. I was listening to it. I wasn't really watching it. It was 2 days ago, but I was listening to it, and he talked about the gold run where gold went from like 900 to, no, it was like 200 to something. What was it? Let's go to the weekly. Yeah, he talked about where gold like rally, like this rally, I think. I think this was just multi-year, multi-year rally. It's a 6-year rally, 300%. Um, we're only 50% up right now. It was something like that where he said, the next couple of years we could go up aggressively. And I'm like, yeah, gold has had some crazy rallies. Oh, I was looking at stockcharts.com. I want, I think I want to try continuous contract. How about just like actual gold? I want to try out their stuff. Their charts are usually pretty good. Do you think stocks are the best thing for somewhat safely growing your savings? Um, are you in the you're in the U.S., right, Trip? Because I don't know much about outside of the U.S. You're in the UK? Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with UK. Yeah, property in the UK is different. We got a member that rents properties, and we actually went through a lot of the financing cycles you gotta do, and it's insane. Like they don't want you to own anything. They want you to refinance like every 4 years. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. So I do believe So first of all, property's good. Okay, I don't think you can do wrong with real estate. Do you need something, babe? One? No, it's one. Okay. Um, you can't go wrong with real estate. Okay, I'm not gonna say. Oh, do they do it in Canada too? Yeah. You can't go wrong with real estate because in any environment, inflationary, whatever, real estate's gonna survive. Could it be depressed for decades? Yes. But if that's depressed for decades, then stocks are depressed for decades too. Part of it, I think, depends. I think you should own your home. Okay. So let's forget about growing your savings. Let's just talk about financial security as an individual living in a world that's probably going to get scary in the next 10, 15 years. You need to own a house outright. You're going to pay taxes on it, you're going to pay insurance on it. Um, but you need to own your home, period. Forget stocks and getting rich. Own a damn house. My mom, um, my mom, her first husband, love of her life, died in a plane crash. Second husband, no, I don't know. No, that was her second husband. First husband, I don't know. Second husband, love of her life, died in a plane crash. Third husband, my dad, douchebag, and she never remarried. Um, she got canned in maybe it was oh 08. She got canned in oh 08, and right before she got canned, she ended up buying a little condo and she still pays on it, but her mortgage is like $400 a month. If she didn't buy that condo, you know, she'd be destitute right now. She hasn't had to work. She was really lucky. She hasn't had to work. Social Security pays her bills, and she has a small $400 pension from one of her jobs. But she in life and made some decisions she kind of had to make and got screwed by the IRS and some laws that passed when she sold a house. Um, and I'm fortunate too because I got to pay. But you own your house. Serious trip. Just get on a path to paying your house off for the next 10 years. Period. 10 years. It's just get a house, pay it off. If you're renting, you're screwed. Yeah, maybe just bigger paying off your mortgage. Very good. Yeah, my mortgage is extremely manageable. It'll be paid off in 5 years if I do nothing else. So, so that's fine for me. Um, my plan is actually to pay it off with my renovation right now, but we're not doing that. But so pay off your house, man. I mean, I don't. It's one thing to be, rich in cash, but have risk elsewhere. Because I haven't paid my house off, which is I don't know maybe kind of stupid because I'm telling you to do the same thing, but I got many multiples times what I owe on my house, like many, like a lot. So, um, but it's also in a retirement account. I can't really touch it too much. And I'm doing a big house renovation for those of you guys that don't like a gut job. My house is just completely gutted. I don't know if I show you guys a picture or not. I think maybe I've got one. I think I had to post one on my desktop, so I wonder if that's VLC. Anyway, it's a complete gut job right now, and once that's all done, I'm gonna. Part of the plan is to pay it off. Hopefully, I do it. I fail sometimes at personal stuff. But yeah, so after you own a house, if you still have more money to invest in other real estate, I do think that is a good investment. Your risk there is renters not paying, obviously, if you're renting stuff out. Commercial real estate, you're sitting on a building that no one's doing nothing with if you want to do that. In the U.S., storage units are massive. Like the amount of storage units going up in Arizona is insane. One of my really big rich customers owns like tons of storage units, like 1,200 facilities. It's insane. Um, and then, past that, I think if you just want to own a house and invest in stocks, which is, I don't have a real estate portfolio, I just own my home. Yeah, stocks are fine. Indexes are fine. Um, I believe if you're watching someone like me, Trip, you should time markets. You should learn about accumulation and distribution and these indexes, and you should learn to time the markets. Yeah, no fancy. Don't worry about no fancy cars. That's for kids. That's for kids. I mean, once you got a wife and yeah, once you're once you got a wife and all that stuff situated, you don't worry about no stupid ass cars unless you got a little dick. So, although I love cars, don't get me wrong. I used to be in a huge car club. I used to be president of a car club. But yeah, so learn to time markets. Learn about how the markets undulate. So take my kids' accounts for instance. So I've been they have um, I think they left. I'm not supposed to know about these accounts, but I started them retirement accounts when they were young. About five. How old are they now? Three, maybe about 6 years ago. I started with 1,200 bucks in each account, and I screwed up one of my son's accounts because I did something. I I always try to do the same thing with both of the accounts, but I think I bought Soxal with one and TQQQ with the other. I always alternate between Soxal and TQQQ. Those are the two things I go between. That's what I was trying to show you. I go between TQQQ and Soxal, which are three times ETFs, and I put one kid in TQ, one kid in Soxal, and I think Soxal vastly outperformed the TQs, and now their accounts are not balanced anymore. But it went from 1,200 to now it's like $8,500 in 6 years. So I think if you can learn to effectively time these markets, um, and learn the rules, and I don't think the rules are that difficult to learn, to be honest with you. Um, I think you can do great. I really do. If you pay attention, understand the macro situation, I think timing these markets, like look at the volatility in the TQQQs are insane, absolutely insane. And this is an exercise I did a while ago. Hold on a sec. Um, I did this exercise a while ago. I don't remember the full results, but I said, look, even in 2016, if you held, you'd have 1600%. And I think we added these up. And I don't, Aram, do you remember the results? I think you were here for that. It was something like, if you timed it, it was like 3 or 4,000%. I mean, here, let me do it real quick. I don't think it'll take too long. So 100 times 1.55, no, 100. Okay, times 1.19 times 1.59 times 1.41 times 3.29 times, that's already 22, that's already almost 1600%. Wait, no, it's not. You need a nice car? Any chick that wants you for your car, screw with that chick. Find a nice woman that loves you for you. That's what it's about. So that's times 479. Please tell me if I did that one twice. I don't think I did. Holy crap, I did times 479. That was wrong. 2238 times 4.79, right? That sounds better. Times 1.59 times 2.03. I don't know, man. Yeah, well, see, I'm very fortunate to not have to go through that, so I'm not gonna yell at you too much, my friend. Um, well, so that you're already at 34,000 by this time, by this run right there. 34,000 from 1,000 versus 1,600%. And then it just gets crazier after that. So that's like what, a 34x versus a 16x? So it gets crazier. And obviously, and these are, if you look at where I've chosen, I did this kind of at random one day. Um, like this isn't the low. I didn't pick an arbitrary low. I picked like really rational points to get in and to get out. Like fairly rational point. Look at that. It's well off the low, and then you get out as it comes over here. You buy here at a horizontal, and then you get out on this side. Not here. You get out over here. You can't get all that unless you're like really on. And so I did that on purpose. I'm like, oh, maybe you miss it up here because it happened so fast, and that's fine. We didn't. We actually got out up here, so that would have been more aggressive. But you get the point. The point is that if you can, and this is from 2016. So, and then, I can probably do another one right now on this one, right? When did we start talking about buying this? Like down here a little bit, even if you waited till up here. Take, take your time. So let's see. That's the wrong tool. Wrong tool. Price range. There we go. So ideally, maybe you buy here and you're up 46%. If not, maybe you buy here, you know, and you're up 27%. Whatever the case may be, um, say you bought there, say you bought in back here and you broke even, maybe you lost a little. You're always going to lose some, you know. I mean, this isn't going to be set in stone. You're not going to go, from 1,000 to 1,000, right? 100. That's not right. I screwed one of these up. Anyway, you get the gist of it. But if I mean, if you can market time your savings, it's I don't think it's too bad. So yeah, and I market time my kids' accounts like shit. Like I held on way too long because I have like, how many accounts do I manage now? One, two, three, four, five, six. Six accounts for me and the boys, and then I don't really manage my wife's. She manages hers, but we talk about it. So I mean, I really think it's too many fucking accounts, but um, yeah, I don't always do perfect. And I was lazy in my kids' accounts. Like I think I held too far down in one of these drawdowns. I forget, but in my other, if you're on top of it, if it's your only account, yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah, Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, Soxel, NVDU. If you put all the leveraged ETFs up against each other, I love the leveraged ETFs. I think they're some of the really most ingenious and best investment vehicles for anybody, especially if you're just managing your account for yourself or someone else, and you don't want to be like uber invested to the point where you're trying to time Apple or trying to time, one of these other ones all the time. But these three times ETFs, they give you so much alpha. It's crazy. Be a pattern trader is the key. Yeah, pattern trader, price action. See, yeah, pattern's good. Oh, patient trader. Yeah, patient trader, 100%. And that's what a strategy like this really is. This is patience right here. This strategy right here is patience. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 trades over 9 years. That's great. You're not really overreacting. Here you could have gotten out early, maybe got back, maybe that was a wash. I don't know. But yeah, patience is key. Anytime I get impatient. So here's the problem with being impatient is that the market only moves up like 30% of the time, right? It moves up 30% of the time, and you're never going to catch the low part. You're never going to sell at the high part. So you really don't have that much opportunity. And if you're constantly grinding, if you're constantly trying to make something happen, shit like this will eat you alive. Eat you alive, eat you alive, eat you alive, eat you alive here. You'll get lucky here. You'll get lucky here. And see, that's the thing. You just gotta get lucky. You just have to get lucky a lot. And I consider it luck, but I really try to set the stage for that luck to occur. Um, it's really what it is. It's not even about skill. I mean, I have got a ton of skill, and um, I just got lucky. You know, take Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, pick a sports athlete. Their averages are 30%, 40%. You know, and that's something you can control. That's shooting at a basket, kicking a soccer ball down the field. Well, that's probably like a lot less. Baseball, 33% is your best of all time. This shit's no different and much harder because you don't control. You have no control over it. You know, you just cannot control it. So, to grow your assets and to hold your savings, um, Bitcoin's actually not bad if you come up with a strategy, which we haven't really codified a strategy for long-term Bitcoin savings, but I think Midwest Picker, I think we figured out was what 60% annual returns over the past 5 years. No, wait, ChatGPT told me that, but I think you asked about it or something. Someone asked about that. Um, I think timing three times ETFs, one of the only ways to get ahead. Period. Period, period, period. You can try to trade individual stocks, that's much harder. You can try to trade options, that's much harder. But if you got a longer term time horizon, you got a 10-year time horizon, dude. Come on now. Look at this. Come on now. What can't you do with this? With timing index funds, with a three times ETF. It's so insane. Look at these returns. 155%, 19, 59, 41, 229. I mean, come on. Come on, 59%. It's just so, 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 so much. Um, Hey, let's do something fun real quick. At least I think it's fun. I'm gonna ask Claude because I've got Claude up here. Claude is pretty good at math. Okay. Hey Claude, I want to see what they get. Because sometimes my math ain't so good. Hey Claude, I want to. Yeah, CAGR. That's the CAGR is the important part there. Yeah, it was 60%. Figure out what my return on investment, what my ROI would be with these sequential returns. Start with, ah, see my mic's dead in front of my typing space because I don't have my setup. I'm at my mother-in-law's house for the next 6 months. Jesus. Um, Start with 1,000. So 155%, 19%, 59, 59%. I'm just going to say all our percentages. 41, 229, 379, 59, 103, 82. What was that, 37? Yeah, 37 and 24. That's what we're at now, 27. Let's see what, let's see if, happy Saturday, Randy. Nice. Let's see what Claude Sonnet 4 returns. They came out with Sonnet 4 yesterday. Yeah, with $1,000. Just market timing. $1 million. I'm doing the wrong thing. I should just do that, you know? So, yeah, that's, I mean, and look, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to legitimately end up with 1,100 or $1.1 million dollars off $1,000. Although, I mean, it's possible, but you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a misstep. You're going to miss an opening. But see, this is already taking a lot of, oh, I think this 379. Oh, you know what? You know why it's so much? Look, I'm double dipping here. That's why. I double dipped on this 379 and 229. That's a mistake. Can you eliminate the 379 return from that, please? Yeah. See, that's why it's so crazy. It wasn't that crazy. That's too crazy. Okay, 229 and 59, that's good. Well, the 379 in the middle of that is just going to kill. Yeah, see, 220. See, that's more, that's a lot more realistic. So that's still amazing. 22,000% versus 1,600% buy and hold. Okay, just market timing it. Yeah, I double dipped on that. I didn't notice that till right then. See, this encapsulates one, two, three other things. So that's why it's so insane. But still, 227 is excellent from $1,000 over 9 years. I mean, come on, man, come on. Yeah, I agree with you, Midwest. I think Bitcoin is great, but I also believe in. I do think you have to diversify a little bit, or you hyper focus to the point where you ignore everything else. One or the other. I mean, if you can do market timing with some Bitcoin diversification, I think that's great. Um, and in fact, that's probably a great way to go. Because Bitcoin is cross border. Um, I don't think the U.S. could take it from you unless you know I think if you use paper wallets and try to keep it off the radar, you could avoid. Because at one point, maybe they'll try to confiscate all Bitcoin because the U.S. is going broke. Who the hell knows what they're going to try to do? It's scary, but it's possible. I mean, they did gold before, right? So you never know what desperate people do at desperate times. And these politicians, who unfortunately aren't experts in their field, um, just grasp at straws and try to make shit work, and they usually do the wrong thing, which really sucks. We elect stupid people. I'm going to run for office, and that's going to be my slogan. We elect stupid people. Don't be stupid. Vote for me. That's what I'm going to do. Um, but yeah, seriously, it's just one of those things where uh, yeah, Bitcoin's great. Index funds are great if done properly. You do have to market time these 3x ETFs, but the returns are crazy. I mean, $227,000. I mean, you double that again, and then you get, you end up with enough money. You know, once you get above $2 million, it gets a little scary. So, I mean, you got some extra time. You know, I mean, you already done 22,000%. What's another 1,000% from here to get to 2.27 million? Nothing. It really won't take that long. Like, because what's it? Um, Actually, let me ask. Can you show each trades total, please? Let's see how long it takes you to 10x. Yeah, I'm starting to write my big computer program, and Claude's way better than it used to be. So let's wait till yeah. So a 10x, yeah, because we got 155%. So we get to 10,000. That's trade five. It's another 10x. Trade five trades. Five trades. Oh, that's crazy. 5 trades, you basically 10x. And that took what? From here, it took 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 9, 2 years. 2 years to 10x. So I don't think you can, and then to 10x that again, to 100,000 was trade 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was another 2 years, So it is what it is. And I think it's one of the safest ways to do it because you're working within the confines of an index fund. This is the NASDAQ. This isn't some garbage penny stock you got to deal about earnings and mergers and CEOs getting too drunk at a Christmas party. It's just you're trading in a 3 times ETF of some of the best stocks in the globe. So I think this is one of the best ways to do it, bar none. Um, yeah, hands down. And then Aram mentioned Soxel. Yeah, I mean you could try it, Market Time Soxel, Market Time, whichever one you want to. They're all gonna lead you to a promised land. And look, we got to do bet. Someone said we got to beat inflation, right? Where was that? Yeah, someone's talked about beating inflation. Yeah, you got to beat inflation when investing. That's been unreliable in recent years. Well, that's because they're traditionally the traditional. This is what gets me. The traditional investment. See, the government won't let you do anything but traditional investments. Okay, you got to invest with the big institutions. You're in a standard index fund, and they don't think they can time the markets. They don't think they can time the markets. Traditional investment gets you normal shit. Don't be traditional. Okay? Don't be traditional whatsoever. I just showed you. I just showed you a way to make, even if you fuck this up really badly, right? Say you're really bad at this, and we start with 1,000, and that's if you not put another penny in, right? You start with 1,000, you get to $220,000. Let's say you botch that and get to 50K, 40K. What would an index fund have done you? Um, let's ask Claude that. What would the QQQ return be with 1,000 from, let's call it December 2016 to um, May 1st, 2025? Let's see about that. I gotta go here in a little bit. All right, my plumber's gonna head here early. Looking for prices. I mean, it's not gonna be that much though. Man, Claude's going for it. Look at this. Not historical December 2016. I guess maybe I should have picked. Okay, 107 to 509, 500%. That's what it looks like. Yeah, about 500%. So you'd have 5 grand with index fund investing. Obviously just with that. Oh, 4,700. Oh, okay. So you have 4,700. 4,700 versus you screwing it up badly and having just say 30,000. That's going to be 6x the market return. Yeah. And so here's the thing that I've really realized, doing this for a very long time now. People don't know. People, for some reason, um, and I don't know why. It's going to be different for every person. Um, they don't get educated. The education they get is sometimes faulty, and they don't care enough. They're too busy with whatever stupid shit they're doing to learn this, to learn any of this. People tell them you can't market time of the market beats timing the market. I mean, pick your phrase of limit self limitation. You know what I mean? Pick your phrase of self limitation. It's all out there. I'm here to tell you that don't limit yourself. why not do something like this? Why not learn to time the markets? Why not learn the market signals? Why not do those things? The information's out there. Just because someone tried it twice and it didn't work for them twice doesn't mean it wasn't going to work the 10th time. Yeah, you're gonna fall, you're gonna stumble, but I'd rather fall and stumble upwards than fall and stumble downwards. So, you know, I think you buy your house, okay? If you want a rental property or two, that's fine. That's a decision you can make, but try to buy them outright in cash so you don't have any risk, or make your mortgage like half of what you would charge in rent, have a huge down payment, or you would buy your house, pay it off, or at least have a very, very stable and easy monthly payment, and then, which is hard to do now, um, and then learn to do something like this. Learn to do something like this, and then what's going to happen to you? And if you're very fortunate and you're studious, in 2 years, maybe you'll have 10x the money in some of these instruments. Like you look at something like Soxel, right? You know, that's 75%, and say you buy back down over here and 150%, and then you buy it back down over there, and that's 25%. Then you buy down here, this is 50, 60, 70%. If you're really lucky, 100%. So you just tripled your account there, then you did that again, that now you're up 6x in whatever time frame. So, it is what it is. You can go, if you want to hyper focus a little more, go to NVDU, which is 2 times NVIDIA, and obviously this has done really well too. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. But now we're in a spot um, in the markets where we're pretty elevated, and I think we're gonna come back and test in some fashion. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but yeah, I think you trade in stocks. I think you learn how to do it. You learn about price action. Read How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill, and yeah, if you guys don't have this book, you're stupid. Well, at least after right now. Buy this book. I got a link in my webpage, but I really don't care. So I probably won't make any money off it. But it's $10. It's $10.50. You're gonna spend less than that on lunch. But this is the book. This is like the book. You know. This is, and if if you look, yeah, 5,000, 4.5 reviews. That's low. It's a really, really great book. Has tons of charts in it. Um, I have this book. That's a good book. This How to Make Money in Stocks Getting Started is a good book. There's another one, that Success Stories, which is green, I think. Reminiscence of a Stock Operator is a great book if you actually want to trade. I don't know about any of those books. But, read, get educated. Where's the Success Stories book, I think, is a good one. How to Make Money in Stocks Success Stories. I think it's green. Oh, it's red. Yeah, Amy Smith. This is a good book too. And this is a short read. You know what I mean? This isn't even crazy. This is a story. This is interviews more than it is crazy technical stuff. Although, you do have, I purchased it in 2013. Holy crap. That was a long time ago. Um, I need to read it again. Um, Publication date, right when I ordered it. January 8th, 2013. I ordered it on January 10th. But this is a great book, If you don't think you can do it, this is a good book to read. And it's like 100 pages or something like that. It's not even a big book. Oh, 256. 256 pages, but it's an easy read. So, Orange Book, How to Make Money in Stocks Getting Started, How to Make Money in Stock. I think I bought this one too, even though I was already started. It doesn't say I did. I don't know. These kind of came out at the same time. Um, yeah, buy all these books. They're 10 freaking dollars, man. Come on. So, and they talk about, especially the Orange Book, talks about timing the stock market. And you can do the same with the index funds. The same thing applies. Buy this one. These are basically the same book. This has 100 charts in the front. So what else? That's it. And I gotta go. I gotta go meet my plumber at the house. So the video watched on IBD was about this Mark Minervini guy. Yeah, the one that I linked to in the chat room. Yeah, he did an interview 2 weeks ago. Yeah, but yeah, get the Orange Book. If you get success stories. I like success stories because she talks to a bunch of people. How many people does she learn how one woman with no financial background used the canceling method to get back on her feet after losing her husband? Then shortly after losing her job, now she invests full time and travels the world. And that's not hyperbole. Amy, this is not a hyperbole book. Not a hyperbole book. It's just a good book about people that things started clicking for them, and that's about it. Yeah. All right, guys, I gotta go. It's in Slack. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, it's in Slack already. I posted it the other day. So, yeah, I gotta run, guys. Have a good day. Um, Probably won't be public next time, so if I don't see you guys, I'll see you when I see you. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good day.